Namaskar. I am going to give my talk on the consequences of the revolt of 1857. The revolt of 1857 marks the close of an era and the beginning of a new one in the history of British rule in India. It resulted in significant change in the administrative structure of Britain for Indian affairs, politics, policies of government of India and the British attitude. By the Ocean of Proclamation on November 1, 1858, the administration of India was transferred from the East India Company to the British Crown. The Court of Directors was replaced by the Indian Council, beheaded by the Secretary of State for India, who was the member of the British Cabinet. The policy of territorial extension was abandoned by the British, and the native rulers were assured of the safety of their territories, honors, and rights. The right of native rulers to adopt a child in absence of their natural heir was also accepted by the British. The lands of Talukdar of the Awadh were also restored to them. The British felt that the native rulers and the handed autocracy would prove to be strong pillars of empire. If therefore become a part of their policy that all conservatives and the reactionary forces in the India हेलो हाँ जी नमस्कार भाई साहब ठीक है भाई साहब किस विभाग का हमारे विभाग का अभी झंझट है भाई साहब अभी झंझट है जी जी भाई साहब 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 ठीक है landed aristocracy would prove to be strong pillars of empire. It, there, it therefore become a part of their policy that all conservative and the reactionary forces in Indian society were to be protected by the government. हाँ सुरेंद्र जी बताइए बताइए हाँ अरे होने दीजिए यार जो होगा होगा देखा जाएगा अरे करने दीजिए ना जो तय करेंगे वहाँ तय करेंगे मेल करने से क्या होगा करने दीजिए ठीक है ठीक ठीक reactionary forces in India society were the protected by the government to serve as a bulwark against the people. At the same time, the theory of one change, that is India, was to be treated as one political unit for administrative purposes, and the crown of England was un- unquestioned ruler of India, was frankly asserted by the implemented. The British encouraged caste, regional and communal distinction of the India divide and rule become the important part of their policies. Of course, after the revolt, the British, despite the Muslim, become the revolt was provided leadership by the King Bahadur Shah in the name of at least, but later on when they become suspicious and the rise of nationalism among the Hindus, they started patronizing the Muslim against the Hindu. The same way they tried to divide the Hindu and the Sikh as well. The organization of Indian Army was also transferred. The proportion of the British soldiers was increased and the best arms were provided to them. Besides, the Indian were divided into martial and the non-martial races at the and regiment were raised on the caste, religious, regional basis, with a Sikh regiment, Jat regiment, and Gorkha regiment, etc. The monopoly of the British over high civil services was also kept intact. The Indian Civil Services Act of 1861 no doubt provided for an annual competitive examination for the recruitment to the co, co, for the conventional to the covenanted civil services, but the venue of the examination was kept in London. Beside the ruler concerning it were to frame that the Indians were virtually kept aloof from the services for the long time to come. Economic exploitation of the Indian increased further after the revolt. Of course, certain beneficial measures like development of the transport and communication, irrigation and agriculture, sanitation, etc., were attempted by the British, but the motive of economic outfit was never lost sight by the British. The period after the revolt was marked with intensification of racial hatred and bitterness, particularly on the behalf of the British. According to Dr. Vishweswar Prasad, destination, contempt, forcefully, vengeance become the marked feature of English character in India. The Indian, on their part, remained holistic towards their rulers for many years to come. The attitude of rule India by the sword and is by the power become the predominant and continue to attempt the policies of the governance of India for many years. All social and educational reform policies were abandoned by the British. Even the education of the Indian was neglected because that would be enlightened the Indian, which ultimately could harm the imperial interest. On the contrary, orthodoxy, religion, superstition, and caste, communal, and regional differences were encouraged. Of course, it was realized that lack of contest between the rulers and the ruled was harmful to the imperial interest, and therefore the beginning of made towards the development of representative institution by the Indian Council Act of 1861, but it was not within the purpose of educating the Indian in the working representative institutions, but to devise a way of establishing the British rule permanently in India. The entire structure of the Indian administration was the modeled that it might ensure the perpetuation of the British rule. Point to be remembered. The revolt of 1857 resulted in significant change in administrative structure of Britain, policy of the government of India, and the British attitude. The British Crown took over the administration of India from the hands of the company. The Court of Directors was replaced by the Indian Council, headed by the Secretary of State of India. The policy of territorial extension was abandoned by the British, and the native rulers were assured of the safety of their state, honor right, including the right to adopt their heirs. The theory of Parvanchar was propounded and implemented. The number of British soldiers was increased in the army, which, in case of Indian soldiers, the policy of counterpoise of native against the native was pursued. The monopoly of the higher service by the Englishmen was kept intact. The racial attitude of the English became more arrogant and bitter. The policy of social and educational reform was abandoned, and on the contrary, orthodoxy, religious superstition, caste system, and communal and regional differences were encouraged. Indians were exploited further economically because henceforth, instead of the company, the economic interest of the entire British nation were to be safeguarded at all cost in India. Nature of the revolt of 1857. Historians have expressed the divergent view about the nature of the revolt of the 1857. The John Lawrence and Shelley describe it as the mutiny of Sepoy, only in which the civilian population did not participate but in view has not been accepted by the majority of historians. They have argued that the revolt was started by Indian soldiers, but all Indian soldiers were not party in it. A large number of Indian soldiers fought from the side of Britain. Besides, the large number of civilians supported the revolting soldiers. Therefore, the revolt was neither a part of all the Indian soldiers, nor was simply confined to them. I.E.R. Rees described the revolt as a religious war against the Christians. But this opinion too has been overthrown. One of the causes of revolt was certainly religious, but the Indians did not revolt to the uprooted the Christianity, but to defend their own religion. Equally untenable is view expressed by some historians that the revolt was conflict between the black and white races. Certainly, all white were on one side and all black were not on the other side. Many blacks fought from the side of British. In fact, for every white man is the camp, there were certainly 20 black 20 black one. T.R. Holmes and some other English historians describe the revolt as a conflict between the civilization and barbarism. But this view is also not tenable. The atrocities were committed both by the English and the Indian against one another. During the revolt, James Outram, W. Taylor, and some other British historians describe the revolt as a conspiracy of the Hindu and the Muslim against British. The view too has been rejected by the majority of historians. It has been mostly accepted by the modern historians that the revolt was not the result of a organized conspiracy. Besides, the Hindus and Muslims developed serious differences among themselves during the revolt and failed to put up put up a united front against British. Therefore, the revolt cannot be accepted as unite among the Indian soldiers. Ashok Mehta, in the book entitled The Great Rebellion, tried to prove that the revolt was a national in character, while Veer Savarkar described it as a planned war of national independence. But again, the difficult of accept their view without reservation. Recently, two distinguished Indian historians, Dr. R.C. Majumdar and Dr. S.N. Sen, have been made extensive researches on the subject. Both scholars have agreed on many facts and expressed similar opinion, yet they have differed in their conclusion. Both agree that the revolt was not pre-planned and no national sentiment existed among the Indians and that time. No leader of the revolt said anything and any place and any time which would justify that they were inspired by the national sentiment. Therefore, the revolt had no national character. 8. Dr. Sen contends that even in the absence of national feeling among the Indians, the revolt was war of independence. He argues that in every revolution, it is only the minority which is active, which without a popular support. It was the case in the French Revolution and the American War of Independence. The same was the case with Indians during the revolt of 1857. Many Indians did not participate in the many other activities supported to British. Therefore, the revolt cannot accepted as a national uprising. Yet it was a war of Indian independence because both the soldiers and citizens, though only the minority among them, tried to turn out of English from the Indian soil. Dr. Sen writes, Dr. Sen writes, the mutiny became a revolt. The mutiny became a revolt and assumed a political character when the mutinies of Meerut placed themselves under the king of Delhi and a section of indeed aristocracy and civil population declared in this favor when begun as fight for the religion ended as a war of independence. On the contrary, Dr. R.C. Majumdar has refused to accept the revolt as a war of Indian independence. He argues that while discussing the nature of the revolt, of the first question, whether it was revolt only of the soldiers or the civilians were also party in it. He says that the revolt was sparked up by the soldiers and the civilian become party to the only afterwards. He also say that it was not pre-planned. Another question concerning the revolt is whether it was national war. Dr. Majumdar says that it cannot be accepted as a national war because the revolt remained limited only to part of India. Other the territory consisting of modern Uttar Pradesh and neighboring area were the centers of the unrest. Bengal, Assam, Orissa, Bihar, Rajasthan, Kashmir, north west frontier, larger part of Punjab, Madhya Pradesh and the territory south of river Narmada remained unaffected by the revolt. Some native rulers like those Patiala, Jind, Nabha and Bhopal and many talukdar was influenced people in the society gave active support to the British in the supporting the revolt and many other remained indifferent to it except for Bengal army. Most of native soldiers remained loyal to the British while the Sikh and Gorkhas provide the positive support to them. The majority of the Indian people also exhibited no ill will towards the English. Many Indians provided shelter and security of the British citizen. The educated Indians were not party to the revolt and therefore were objects of hatred of mutineers. Many contemporary Indian writers express the view that the citizens were tribe of the mutinies. They suffered too much and they prayed to God for the re-establishment of the British rule. The relation between the Hindu and Muslim also did not remain cordial during the period of the revolt. Of course, both fought together against the British. Yet there was no such feeling among them which could be recognized as a national feeling. On the contrary, both communities and serious doubt against each other intention beside the several Hindu-Muslim riots took place at several places like Bareilly, Bijnor, Muradabad, etc. The Indians thus were divided on the basis of religious differences. Thus, it is clear that the revolt was limited only to the part of India, that even in the limited area, the mutineers were divided among themselves due to different factors. Therefore, Dr. Majumdar contends that it was not a national revolt. Dr. Majumdar further argued that if it was not national rising, can we accept it as a war of independence? He says that many scholars prepare to accept every armed struggle of the Indians against the British as a freedom fight. But should we accept in a view? If we accept their view, then the struggle of Santals, Wahhabis and many other against the English should also be accepted the freedom struggle. But we do not accept them to such. It means the every struggle of fighting of the Indian against the British cannot be accepted as a war of independence. He argued that only criterion of accepting the struggle of natives against the foreigners as the war of independence is that it should be motivated simply by desire of turning out the foreigners from their homeland. The revolt. The revolt of 1857 was not fought on this basis. Even in the central places of the revolt, many people were not favor of the mutineers. The Hindu and Muslim were not inspired fight against the foreigners, but to protect their respective religion. In fact, after the rising of the soldiers, the revolt was pursued simply to fulfill selfish interests of either the individuals of the groups. The events during the period of the revolt is no way proof that the aim of the mutinies was to turn out the foreigners of the India and to gain independence. Therefore, Dr. R.C. Majumdar has refused to accept the revolt of 1857 as a war of Indian independence. He concludes, if difficult to avoid conclusion, that the so-called First National War of Independence of 1857 is neither first nor national nor war of independence. Point to be remembered. Historians have expressed the divergent view about the nature of revolt. It has been described as a mutiny of sepoys, a religious war against the Christians, a war between the black and white races, etc. But their view have been rejected by modern historians. However, even the S.N. Sen and Dr. R.C. Majumdar also have done intense researches in this field that failed to be unanimous their conclusion. Both scholars have agreed on many facts. The revolt was not organized in it had no national character. Yet Dr. Sen says that it was the war of Indian independence because both the soldiers and the citizens maybe minority tried to turn out the English from India. On the contrary, the Majumdar says that as the revolt was limited only in the part of India, several native rulers supported the English. Large number of English soldiers, including the Sikhs and Gorkhas, remained loyal to the English. The large majority of the Indian people did not like it. The relation of the Hindus and the Muslims had not remained cordial, and the mutinies mostly fought for their respective selfish interest. It was neither first, not national, nor a war of independence. Thank you very much.